Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Linda Griffian. I'm the Education Programs Coordinator here at BusinessLink. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to start out with the land acknowledgement. We want to acknowledge that in the province of Alberta, we are situated on the traditional territories of treaties 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10, ancestral homeland of diverse First Nations group, Métis and Indigenous people whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial, and whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community. We pay respects to the Indigenous people of this land, past, present, and future, while recognizing their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationship to the land on which we reside. A few housekeeping notes today. One of them is, if you have questions, we want you to ask questions, so please do that. You can introduce yourself using the chat feature and say hello and let us know what kind of business you're in and maybe how many years you've been in business. If you have questions, you can choose to put those questions into the Q&A. So if you go into the bottom of the screen, you'll see the option for chat and for Q&A. If you've got some questions, pop those into Q&A. We're going to be leaving time at the end of the presentation for those questions, so don't be shy, put them in there for sure. Today, we have Nelson Liam presenting Barter Basics 101. I'm looking forward to this presentation. Actually, I was a member of a barter exchange many years ago, and it really helped me grow my business. So I'm looking forward to learning more about Nelson's exchange, how it works, and what we're going to be seeing from him today. So thank you for joining us, Nelson, and please take it away.
Thank you so much, Linda. Really appreciate the opportunity to share with everyone how you can best leverage barter into your business as a marketing alternative. So what I'll do is I'll jump right into the presentation. So spend smarter, think barter, increase your cash flow, sales, and profit. Oops, here we go. So what is a business trade exchange? Now, this is probably one of the best kept secrets out there in terms of growing your business or helping you to save cash. So when most people think of barter, or business owners think of barter, they naturally think of direct one-to-one trades. So let's say, for example, web design services in exchange for printing services. Now, through a business trade exchange, we use a virtual currency called Xmerce dollars to value products and services. So what this means to you as a business is whatever you as a business would normally charge out there in the cash world is what you would charge in Xmerce dollars through a network. Now, barter, obviously an idea from the past. People saw value, so they start to trade directly one-to-one. Now, the birth of the modern barter industry started back in the 60s in California. So barter exchanges or organizations similarly set up like us. Now, some of the challenges if you were to barter direct is both parties have to want what the other has to offer. It can be very time consuming because you're going to actually have to find people to trade with. Limited utility in the sense of available products and services. And on top of that, it's hard to value products and services equally. So how do I know what you're giving me is equal value in return for what I'm giving you? Now, the growth of the barter industry can be attributed to a couple of things. So a lot of business owners aren't aware that the federal government, they actually passed a law back in '82 recognizing barter exchanges as third-party record keepers. So we, in a sense, almost operate like a bank or an accountant. We keep track of trade credits going in and out of each member's trade account. Now, during times of inflation or economic downturns, recessions, barter is very ideal because it's an opportunity for you to really save your cash during these times. Advances in technology have helped grow the barter industry. So it's very much like online banking. You can log into your account, you can view your trade balance, you can search the member directory, you can order gift cards, etc. There are 600 barter companies worldwide, 65 in Canada. Majority of them are in Eastern Canada, but it's grown here in Western Canada. This slide here just tells you some Fortune 100 companies have actually incorporated barter into their companies. So for example, if we look at Panasonic, during the time when they had a recession, they would simply barter products instead of cash to bonus their staff. Now, the way in which we barter through a barter exchange like Xmers, and as mentioned prior, using a virtual currency, is you're virtually able to trade with anyone. So multi-directional trading, there's increased flexibility, opportunities for networking and exposure, complete record keeping. So anytime you buy or sell, you'll receive an email confirmation of that transaction. Personalized service and brokering. So when you participate through a barter exchange, a broker is assigned to your account to help you buy, sell, promote your offerings. And last is confidence. So through Xmers or through a barter exchange, we use a virtual currency called Xmers dollars or trade dollars to value products and services. So again, whatever you as a business would normally charge out there in the cash world is what you would now charge in Xmers dollars or trade dollars through a network. Now, you might be thinking, this barter program sounds good and all, but what's the actual benefit to my business? How am I going to benefit from participation through a barter exchange? So number one, it's a way for you to increase your sales. Two, improve profitability. So one way in doing that is to lower your overhead expenses. So instead of you spending cash on things like printing, advertising, could be accounting, bookkeeping services, you can now trade your products and services to now get those things you normally would have paid cash for. For retailers, it is a way for you to move your surplus inventory. For service-based businesses, it's a way for you to fill your idle production times. Essentially, through a barter exchange, we help you to operate at capacity. It is a way for you to increase your cash flow and also expand your customer base. So through a barter exchange, we actually have reciprocal partnerships with other exchanges right across Canada. So any dollars that you bank here in Calgary, you can actually spend it with the other reciprocal partners that we do have. And then lastly is improve quality of life. So when you participate through a barter exchange, you don't have to purchase everything just for the business, but also, personal things in life. Going to a restaurant, salon, spa services. I do find in working with a lot of our clients, they generally like to use health-related services. So things like dental, massage, physio, chiro, all of that can be purchased on barter through a barter exchange like Xmers. So the way in which we help to increase your sales is we help you to find new customers in a couple of different ways. So one is through our online directory. We have an e-newsletter that gets sent out, very active on social media. But the biggest thing that anyone can take advantage of when they participate through a barter exchange is working with their trade broker. So the trade broker's responsibility is to work with you to help you identify where is it in your business or personal life, where are you spending cash, and how do you leverage barter to now offset some of those cash expenses. Now, a great thing about participating through a barter exchange is word-of-mouth cash referrals. So although it's a barter customer, it's still a customer at the end of the day that can refer you to new cash business. What we do find and what I've experienced over the past 19 years is when a barter member transacts with another member, if they're happy, they'll probably tell their non-bartering friends about you, which will lead to word-of-mouth cash referrals. We pretty much act as your external sales force. So when you participate through a barter exchange, think of us as like an alternative sales and marketing, part of your team. So we broker transactions. So again, you let us know what's on your wish list, and we search the directory to help you find ways to save cash, promote you in our newsletter, website, again, host regular networking functions. So this is a very simple example of how it would work. So let's say, for example, you wanted to purchase advertising. Let's say the cost of the advertising was $1,000. What you would do is simply trade $1,000 worth of your products and services. And so what happens in the end is you're able to get the advertising. $1,000 cash is still in your pocket because it naturally didn't cost you $1,000 cash to produce. What it cost you was your own cost of goods or your own cost of time. So every time you use the barter system, you will save yourself cash. But again, what's very important is identifying where is it in your business or personal life, where are you spending cash, and how do you leverage the barter system to now offset some of those cash expenses. In terms of authorizations or posting a transaction, very simple. So there's really three ways. One, you can call us to post the transaction, you can email us to post the transaction, or you can simply log into your account to post the transaction. And so when you post a transaction, that just means your account gets credited in Xmerce dollars or trade dollars, enabling you to now start purchasing products and services with any one of the members that's part of our network. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what does Revenue Canada think about barter? So in the eyes of CRA, as mentioned prior, they passed what was called the Barter Income Tax Act back in '82. So they consider your barter income the same as cash income. So one trade dollar or one Xmerce dollar is equivalent to one Canadian cash dollar. Now, anything you purchase on barter for your business, you can actually write that off as a regular business expense. So always very important to keep the receipt from the member, give it to your accountant or bookkeeper, and then he or she will be able to write that off as a regular business expense. Personal expenses, unfortunately, you can't do anything about that. And below is just a quote from CA Magazine, just saying you don't have to separate your revenue and expense accounts because of the fact that Revenue Canada treats it dollar for dollar. So what really happens at the end of the year, if you're transacting on barter, is let's say you do X dollars in cash sales, and let's say you did $10,000 in barter sales, you would simply combine the two, and you would still have to pay taxes on the total amount. Now, with respect to GST, GST is also payable in trade dollars or Xmerce dollars. Now, if you were to purchase products and services for your business, again, you want to keep the receipt. So number one, you can write that off as a regular business expense, but any GST that you pay in Xmerce dollars or trade dollars, you can also claim that back as an input tax credit. So no different than as if we're in the cash world. So in terms of how a barter exchange can effectively market your business, so promotion through internally, e-newsletter, online directory listing, individual outreaches, so again, working with your trade broker, private Facebook group page or promoting you via social media, and hosting regular networking events. How you make the most out of your membership through participation through a barter exchange. You know, as mentioned prior, very important to work with your broker. So again, trying to identify all the areas that you're currently spending cash on for the business and or personally, and seeing how you can leverage barter to offset some of those cash expenses. So typically a barter exchange, or what we like to do is we like to do an audit of your expenses. And so you helping us to identify where you're spending cash. So, you know, you could look at your, you know, calendar over the next, you know, 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Let us know, are you going to be spending money in marketing, advertising, printing, courier services? You know, think of all the imaginable expenses that you have for your business. And then we can identify through the barter exchange where we can actually help you save cash by simply bartering your products and services. This here is just examples of reciprocal partnerships that we ourselves have with Xmerce. So we have partnerships with other exchanges, independent exchanges from Xmerce in Surrey, Kelowna, Winnipeg, Italy, Colorado. We actually helped one of our dental members, he's a dentist, find accommodation stay in Italy. So a lot of different neat things that you can utilize on barter. Now, in terms of tax write-offs, as mentioned prior, Revenue Canada, considers barter above table. They passed a law back in '82. So again, anything you purchase on barter for your business, you can write that off as a regular business expense. We do work with a number of charities as well. So any donations that you make in Xmerse dollars or trade dollars, you will get a charitable tax receipt, and participation through a barter exchange, you can also write off our barter fees as well. Now, what's very important to us is maintaining our barter policies. So everything through a barter exchange or through Xmerse is payable on 100% barter. Now, the only exceptions are for contractors, landscapers, and auto mechanics, whereby the labor portion, that's payable on 100% barter, but parts, materials, supplies, that's paid in cash by the Xmerse member. So typically with different barter exchanges, they have different rules, but we ourselves in Calgary, we do stick to 100% barter policy. Now, anytime that you encounter a member that may not be abiding by the 100% barter policy rule, we do have kind of like a 3-strike policy. So if you encounter members where they've either maybe inflated their price just because it's on barter, they're doing a cash trade blend, or delivery of poor product service, please let us know, because the community is only as good as its members. So again, what's very important to us is maintaining the integrity of our community. Here is a case study. I just wanted to kind of highlight one of our members. It's an accounting firm, headquarters, bookkeeping and tax. So in the last 3 months, they actually spent $17,000 on barter. And so this is just some of the things that they purchased on barter through Xmerse. So if we look at their business expenses, we help them with co-working space. They worked with a marketing consultant. They got graphic design services. They utilized courier services, and they got commercial cleaning. And again, with barter, you're not just limited to using it for your business, but you can use it personally as well. So Kelly, the owner, had used it for restaurant dining, interior design services, and she used a number of health-related services like massage, chiropractic services, and dental. So locally here in Calgary, we represent 500 plus members. These are some of the companies we work with: Canadian Cancer Society, World Health, which is now Gym VMT, Global Fest, Springbank Links Golf Course. So essentially, whatever is out there in the cash world, we hope to bring to the Xmerse network. Now, one of the neat things about the Xmerse program too is we've actually partnered up with the Better Business Bureau, where we've actually launched a barter portal for accredited BBB members. So what this means to Xmerse members is you have an opportunity to actually trade with BBB members and vice versa. So it just helps to expand your trading opportunities in terms of helping you to reach out to more customers and helping you find more ways to save your cash. So that's pretty much the end of the presentation, but I'd just like to highlight just a couple of important things. So, when considering participation through a barter exchange, there's really 2 things to consider. So number 1 is, can the barter exchange drive you new business? And then 2, on the flip side, is when I sell my products or services, what can I buy? So it's very important to, browse the directory to identify where is it in your business or personal life where you can leverage barter to offset some of those cash expenses. And really, in summary, by participating through a barter exchange, there's 3 key things. So number 1, it's a way for you to reach out to new customers. So we help to promote your business to the 500 plus members that's part of our network. And it is an excellent way for you to reach out to new customers, save your cash. And the great thing about participation is when you do a great job for a barter member, if they're happy, they'll tell their non-bartering friends about you, which will lead to word-of-mouth cash referrals. Number two, it is a way for you to save your cash, because when you're bartering, you have the ability to now buy things at your own cost, whether it's your own cost of goods or your own cost of time. And as mentioned prior, it's important to identify all the imaginable areas that you're currently spending cash on for your business or personally, and cross-referencing the barter directory to see where you can save your cash. And the last point is turning any sort of excess capacity into profit. So our job is to drive and push business your way during the times when you're not busy, so that you're operating at capacity. So barter really works for any business, whether you're a startup in the growth phase or a mature business. So for companies that are in the startup phase, one of the biggest challenges is, I might not have cash to, pay for, digital marketing services, or I don't have the cash for, printing. Well, what you do have is your time and resources that you can barter for and get those things that, you normally would have to spend cash for. For those companies that are in the growth phase, they're still looking to grow, acquire more customers, but maybe at this point in time, you want to start sourcing out varying activities. Maybe you don't want to do, accounting, bookkeeping services or the digital marketing. Well, why not hire a company on barter to get those things, again, that you normally would pay cash for? And again, it's going to save you cash and ultimately get you ahead. And then lastly, for mature businesses, these are the larger, more established businesses, I find these companies typically like to use the barter for things like staff, parties, maybe you want to gift clients, things like that. So those are probably the three key points. And at this point, Linda, I'm open to answering any sorts of questions.
Okay. I'll have a question, but I'll wait for some people to show up with theirs as well. I do have to say that when I started my most recent company, which was the late 90s, early 2000s, as a startup, I was a member of an earlier exchange before you came around, Nelson, in here in Calgary, and it was really early days of exchanges. No one had really understood or heard of them in Calgary at the time, and we had at least, like you have a lot of members on your exchange. We probably didn't have as many as you have on yours, and just the connections and the networking that I received out of that, and the ability to build my business in ways that I was struggling at the time to build my business was so useful to me. I really made a lot of actually lifelong connections, people who do business with me now for, not barter exchange money anymore, but money. And we always did a little bit, we did often both. If I didn't have enough exchange dollars, I could still do business with those people. And when I had the exchange dollars, it was just so nice to do it in exchange dollars instead and keep the cash on hand. So I really enjoyed being part of an exchange. Now, there's a fee associated with being part of an exchange. Is that correct?
Yes. So in terms of our fees, we normally charge a monthly fee of $30 per month and a cash transaction fee of 8% buy, 8% sell. So for example, if we help to sell $1,000 worth of your services, the fee to Xmerse would be $80 paid in cash. So it's like a broker commission fee in sourcing new leads to your business, facilitating any sort of transactions on your behalf. With Xmerse, there's absolutely no contract with us whatsoever. Month-to-month basis, if you feel a program's not working out for you, just give us 10 days notice. Any sort of trade that you have left in your account, you can spend as is. But again, it's in our best interest to ensure that you don't just stay with us for the short term, but the longevity of our business and yours. And so Also for, anyone that's, on this call today, we're happy to extend a 3-month trial. So for the first 3 months, you do not pay the monthly fee. The only applicable fee is the 8% buy, 8% sell. So it really gives you an opportunity to, trial the Xmerce exchange or the barter exchange.
Thanks. Yeah, and really that's a small outlay for the marketing. It's a good marketing bang for your buck, really. So if you're trying to figure out where this fits, for example, in your startup costs, or where it fits in your monthly monthly budgeting, sit down and say, well, is this going to be applicable to my marketing dollars? Where do I want to assign the barter exchange fees for that? We always put it, for myself and my company, we always just attributed it to marketing expenses. And then of course your accountant can help you attribute the percentage of exchange dollars to where it's appropriate in your business expenses as well. So valid business expenses for it. What we did in my accounting system when I was involved with barter was we just set up a separate bank account virtually in my accounting system for it. So we had, my Scotiabank account, we had my, well, in this case, my Xmerce account, and we just attributed, we tracked and attributed it that way. Are there ideal member service types? So tell us more about that, Nelson. Are there types of businesses who do better than others, or some that you see more than others?
Yeah, so I mean, just in the 19 years, that I've been operating Xmerce, barter really works for, any type of, business. But, I would say the ones that are in high demand or strong demand would be contractors. So anyone that does kind of like renovations, restaurants are in high demand, accountant, bookkeepers, lawyers, digital marketers, those are ideal. But, I find because we serve just a diverse range of different members, it's at the end of the day, it's dependent on that business owner, what their personal needs are and or business needs are. So it can sometimes vary, but I do find, the contractors, restaurants, digital marketers, those seem to be highly sought after.
We have another question here. I am not a brick and mortar business. I'm a private transportation business. So wondering, and I used to be a courier company, just so Matt, it's a question from Matt. Yes, is there services that I need for business, and is there interest for my services with fellow members? So private transportation business. So I don't know, Matt, are you in sort of the limo business? Are you in just shuttling people maybe? We could go a little bit further there, but is there an interest for that, Nelson?
Yeah, so so I guess, if it's limo services or, private transportation where, let's say you need, instead of taking a cab or Uber, to the airport and back, I would say there is demand. We've had members request those types of services before. So I do believe there would be an opportunity. So, okay, private shuttles and private tours. Yeah, absolutely. So I think, if you do private tours, a lot of the companies sometimes for Christmas parties, for example, or maybe they want to do like a team event or team outing. So we've had requests for that in the past. Unfortunately, we don't provide a service like that. So, there certainly could be a fit for your offerings through the Xmerce network.
And Matt, on the exchange, what are the things that you need for your business in exchange for what you have for someone to offer to someone else? So in your case, it may be, I have need for accounting services, or maybe I have need for graphics for my vehicles, or that sort of thing. So those types of companies could be part of the exchange as well. So I think it works equally as well for service or product businesses. That's great. Oh, I hope your private shuttle business goes well. Are you in startup, Matt, or are you in growth? How long have you been in the private shuttle business? Maybe we can get a bit of info. Oh, Jenny, I'm a physician with a virtual health and wellness coaching company that uses real-time client data to guide behavior changes. Would there be a demand for these services via barter?
That's actually a really interesting service. I mean, there's lots of business owners that, health is, important to them. And so there could be an opportunity. Again, this would be a first that I've seen. So there could be demand. It's sometimes it's one of those things where we need an opportunity to promote it to the members, and as your broker, we push it out to the members to create that demand for you. So that's where the real value comes in, is when you participate through a barter exchange. You're not just a company name in our directory, but rather the brokers actively push and promote your services. So that'd be a way to create awareness for your offering. So there could be demand for sure.
Sometimes too, what I notice for, especially for business owners who don't have dental plans and health plans and things like that. If you're an entrepreneur, you often don't have those lovely benefit plans that everybody else gets when they're working for other people. Is that barter is a great way for entrepreneurs to access health and wellness that they normally might not. So I know that before I had dental and health plans, there was, you could do those a few ways, but ultimately, you're paying out of pocket for these things. So if there's a way to keep your cash in hand and then pay with barter dollars for something that's health and wellness related, that was actually one of the first things I always did with my exchange dollars. And not everyone does it, but I did for sure. I did health and wellness for sure. Did we sign up online for this?
Yes, yeah. So anyone that's interested, you can just simply go to www.xmerce.com, and there's a sign up link. And I'm also happy, if you want to grab my contact details, I'm also happy to provide you with access to the member directory, because, as I mentioned prior, when you consider participation through a barter exchange, two things to consider. One, can the barter exchange drive you new business? And two, on the flip side, is once you start banking the dollars, how do you spend it so that it's going to create value for your business or for you personally? So very important to take the time to check out the directory. So yeah, if you want to send me an email, I'm happy to provide you with access to our directory.
Yeah, I think that answered Jenny's question. Is there a list of companies? For sure. And that's important, just knowing that you can do the exchanges. That is great information. I know that in days of all kinds of different way, there's so many different ways to promote your business and so many different channels to do that through. One of the strategies you need to think about for your business is what is a good channel for me from a marketing perspective? Is this the channel that is going to connect me with people who will use my business? But there's also a second piece of it that I think a lot of people don't think about, is that now you're part of a network of other entrepreneurs. And you're connected now with people who are successfully building businesses and successfully marketing businesses. So sometimes these types of interactions are not only about marketing businesses back and forth to one another, but making personal entrepreneurial connections so that, you can meet people and go for coffee with them and talk about, what it is to be you, lonely in the entrepreneurial world. And you're suddenly networked in with a group of people who are like you from multiple industries, who have stories to share and information to share and can help you grow your business in all of those sort of undefined kinds of ways that you don't necessarily see through direct marketing. So I know I use this type of channel for that too. Where are the majority of businesses located? I'm in Edmonton and offer digital services to small businesses. Are there any limitations if you're in a different city?
Yeah, so Xmerse, so predominantly we are in Calgary. Um, and I mean, Edmonton, we're looking to expand there in the coming year, so there could be opportunities. But if you do offer virtual services, there could be opportunities. But like I shared earlier, on the flip side is you want to be sure that there are things in your local city that you can actually take advantage of. But in terms of networking and outreach and connecting with new businesses, as Linda had mentioned, it's an excellent way to reach out to new people. And the one thing I wanted to also point out is the synergies and partnerships that you can potentially create with other members within the network. So we are very community focused and minded. And so if there are businesses in the directory that you'd like to connect with, or create some sort of partnership synergy, let us know, or don't be afraid to reach out to them direct. And I find when you say, hey, I'm part of the Xmerse network, more often than not, businesses are open to doing business with you. So it's all about building that relationship at the end of the day. And the barter program is really just an alternative marketing tool for you to grow your business. We're not saying it's the be all end all strategy, but it's another tactic that you can certainly utilize, especially during these times when everything costs so much more, high inflation. If there's a recession that comes, you can prepare yourself or your business by really utilizing barter to now offset some of those cash expenses, but at the same time, get plugged in and get connected with other business owners.
Thank you. Okay, so everyone, the contact information for Nelson is on the screen if you want to jot that down, and take the website address down as well. I was interested in the Italy one, so I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
maybe I'm sure a
that,
lot of people are like, ooh, Italy.
no. So Dr. Doug Glenn, our dentist, we helped him with accommodation stay. I think he was there for about 2 weeks. And then we helped him with some, food and beverage as well, while he was in Italy. So yeah, that's been one of the kind of, I guess, neat trades that I've been able to, put together. We also had another member. We set up a hotel stay in New York in near Times Square. So that was pretty cool as well.
Nice. Those are always great stories to share too. So I think we have covered the bases. Thank you, Nelson. You really covered the bases on this. I really encourage people to explore this as a potential marketing channel option, as a potential for connection, a potential to build your business and keep the cash in your pockets as well. It's important, especially right now, as we're going through tumultuous times economically and around the world, to have alternatives and to build alternatives into your business to generate additional sources of revenue as well. So I appreciate you sharing that, Nelson. Do you have anything to close with, or are we essentially done? Maybe we're done a little early.
No. I mean, I really appreciate the opportunity to share with business owners today about barter and Xmerse, and certainly anyone that's on the call. Again, feel free to reach out to me with any more questions. Happy to help address any other questions or concerns. And again, if you'd like to take a browse through of the member directory, just shoot me an email, and happy to provide you with the credentials to access the directory there.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So thank you for presenting today, Nelson, and thank you, team participants. Thank you for coming on board and learning more about it. We will be posting this webinar as a recording to the Business Link website in the next 2 to 3 business days, so you can watch for that, along with many of our other Business Link webinars that we've had in the last 2 months. Specifically, we've had quite a few. So take an opportunity to browse through that or hook into our Business Link YouTube channel as well for those. Have a fabulous day, everyone. I really appreciate you coming. Thanks for sharing the information with us as well, Nelson. And looking forward to seeing some of you work some magic with Barter maybe in the next month or two.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Linda.